Here's a roulette strategy that was introduced to me by a casino dealer that's been in the industry for over a decade. It was pitched as a safe and effective strategy that players could use to win money whilst playing roulette. Now, the term safe and effective has been thrown around quite loosely in recent years, and when it comes to roulette strategies, there's never really a safe strategy, so I had to take a deeper look into this one. And I must confess, at first glance, this roulette strategy looks to have a lot of potential, and the theory behind it is a compelling one. After watching this video, please let me know in the comments who you agree with, my casino dealer friend or myself. Let me explain how this roulette strategy works, your probabilities of winning, how much money you could win, and finally, I've suggested an alteration to this strategy that could improve it dramatically. With this roulette system, we select 2 dozens and 2 columns. In our example, let's use the middle and top column and the middle and last dozen. With this setup, there are 4 numbers in the bottom column and the first dozen that result in us losing our entire bet, and of course the 5th number being the single zero. If you are playing at a roulette table with double zero, stop playing and go and find a table with just a single zero. You'll cut the house edge in half with that single move. If you need help finding a casino offering a single roulette table, you can complete the quiz in the description, and I'll recommend the best casino for you based on your preferences and where in the world you live. With 5 out of 37 numbers being wax, that means we have a 13.5% chance that we lose all of our bets, meaning that the other 32 numbers, or 86.5% of the time, we are going to hit one of our so-called winning numbers. Sounds pretty good, right? But don't get too excited. As you'll see now, not all of those 32 numbers result in a profitable return, and to prove this point, let's run a quick example. The suggested way to play this strategy is to bet the same amount on both the dozens and both of the columns. Let's keep things simple and have $5 on all 4 of these bets, giving us a total bet of $20. So we already know there's a 13.5% probability of losing all this $20. But there's 2 more potential outcomes when using this strategy. If the ball lands in either the top or middle column, our column bet returns $15. And if the ball lands in the middle or high dozen, the dozen bet also returns $15. So with that being said, if we have bet $20, we need to hit a number that's in one of our winning columns and one of our winning dozens. Well, what's the probability of that happening? Mapping them out on the roulette layout, we can see there's a total of 16 numbers that meet this criteria. 16 out of 37 numbers equals 43.2%. So despite covering 86% of the numbers on the wheel, this roulette strategy only brings home a profit 43.2% of the time. And what's really worrying about this strategy is that the amount of profit is only $10 from a $20 bet. As if that wasn't miserable enough, I've not even mentioned the additional 16 numbers that are either in a winning dozen but not a winning column, or in a winning column but not in a winning dozen. Only winning $15 from these numbers ensures that we lose $5. So here's the potential outcomes of this roulette strategy. There's a 13.5% probability we lose our entire bet. There's a 43.2% probability that we lose just $5, and there's a 43.2% probability that we hit a profitable number and the profit is only $10. That means despite looking like you're fully protected by covering 32 out of 37 numbers, you actually have a 56.7% probability of losing money each time the ball is spun. Now that would be absolutely fine if when we win the payout was worth the risk, but in this case I would argue the point that it's absolutely not. You can't even double your money on a bet that has a less than 50% chance of winning. If I owned a casino, I would encourage every single roulette player to play this system, as the house chance of winning is high and their risk is exceptionally low. In my opinion, it's a safe and effective roulette strategy, but for the house and not for the player. It's important to run the numbers on roulette strategies like these, because at first glance you could be tempted to implement it yourself. You might see your so-called winning numbers land consistently, but your bankroll will steadily drop. I did mention at the start of the video that if you did want to play this strategy, I would implement one alteration to give it a better chance of winning. Seeing as we're solely focusing on column and dozens, why don't we introduce the best betting strategy when it comes to these bets, and that's the Fibonacci sequence. If you haven't watched my video regarding the Fibonacci sequence and how it's an absolutely spectacular betting pattern for columns and dozens, I recommend you watch that video. If you have watched it, you'll know that in order to lose with this divine sequence, a column or dozen has to lose 11 times in a row. I recommend changing the standard flat bet of $5 each and every time and instead move along the Fibonacci sequence every time a column or dozen loses. At least this way, your potential winnings will increase, and instead of having a 56.7% probability of losing each spin, you are now only going to lose money if one of your dozens or columns misses 11 times in a row, and the probability of that happening is 1.3%. Now, the negative to implementing this betting sequence instead of the standard $20 flat bet is that if you do find yourself on the end of an unlucky losing streak, you're going to be losing a lot more than $20 each spin and end up losing your entire bankroll. I personally think it's worth the risk, as this so-called safe and effective strategy of betting on 2 dozens and 2 columns is highly deceiving with very little upside. Tell me what you think in the comments. Have I not considered something? Does my casino dealer friend have a point? And is this a strategy you've had success with? I'm going to try out my improved version of this system with the Fibonacci sequence. If you would like to see how it goes, watch this video next.